Welcome back. I'm doing a couple videos. I'm teaching pre-calculus, and during this time, I've come to realize that students still have a lot of trouble graphing piecewise graphs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple examples on how to graph piecewise functions. So without further ado, here's an example of a piecewise function. Now, if you don't know what a piecewise function is, essentially it's a function made up of several different functions. Okay, and so you have here is one function. All right, so we'll call this function one, or equation one. All right, equation one. And in this equation, number one, all right, it's defined by the certain domain. Okay, now for a piecewise graph, it's important to kind of remember that piecewise functions are made up of pieces of functions, pieces. So the first one is we're going to look at this first piece in equation number one. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to graph this. Okay, so we're going to break it up into individual pieces, so graph each one individually. Now, what helps is that when you do your little grid, all right, so I'm going to make a little grid right here. I'm going to graph this. All right, and I probably maybe should have, it's not the best, so I apologize. But whenever you start this, is we're going to plug in some values. Okay, so if we're going to go right here, and the value you always start with is going to be that one right there. Okay, so we're going to make a little chart. Okay, and plug in some values. So we're going to plug in our y, and so I'm going to plug in first off -2. All right, and -2 is a closed circle. It's closed because it's going to be equal to. All right, so I'm going to plug in -2 in here. We'll have 1 minus 2 times -2. -2 squared is going to be 4. 4, 8. So 1 minus 8 is -7. So that's our first point. So we can go over here at -2, 1, 2, and we're going down to -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's going to be a closed circle right there. Now we're going to go one more point. Okay, and we're going to pick another point to the left of -2. So any value to the left of -2. So we're going to plug in -3. Now with -3, I'm going to once again plug in here. So if you just know what we're going to have, I have 1 minus 2 times -3. I'm going to plug it into that one because it's for all values less than there. So when we do that, what we have is 9. 9 times 2, or -2 is -18. And it's going to be +1. So we get right here is going to be -17 is our value. So we're in a little room right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right, and that's going to be at -3 and -17. And what we have is a graph that probably is going to go like this. And it would keep on going on. And I could plug in more points if I wanted to, and they'll all be plugged in that function. So like I want to plug in -4, I could do that, and find different values and so on and so forth. Okay, and so on and so forth that way. All right, so we graphed our first part, which is that part. Okay, that's our first piece. Now for our next piece, I'm going to put in a different color. I'm going to use green. And for this one, we are now going to graph this function. All right, the bottom function. Now, once again, we're going to start with a value, and we're going to start with this value right here. Okay, so we're going to plug in -2. Now, this does not equal -2, so this is going to be an open circle here. Okay, open circle. All right, when you have that, so it'll be an open circle right there. So when you plug in -2, we're going to plug -2 into here. And what we have is negative times a -2, all right, plus 8 is going to give us 10. Okay, -2, 10. And so at this -2, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And at -2, it's going to be a open circle. Because remember, it has to be a function. Okay, for every input, there's one output. And so now that's our starting point. But now I'm going to pick values that are going to be greater than -2. All right, any x value is greater than -2. So I'm going to pick like -1. We could also pick 1, or also 0. Since it's a line, I just need one other point. So we'll take -1. All right, we plug a -1 in there. Okay, what we'll have is 9. All right, and so we'll go right there, 9. And if I want to put in 0, we could have 8. And needless to say, what we do is we graph, connect the dots, and we have this graph right here. And that's our graph. We have this parabola, and then we also have this line, all right? And those are the different pieces of our graph. So if I would have this is the piece, I can draw a picture, right there. And our other piece of our graph is that one right there, and that's how we get our different values. So let's just take that and put that out there, and that's our piecewise function. All right, so the key thing is graphing different pieces. We start with equation number 1. I didn't label equation number 2, but this would be our equation number 2. All right, and we graph each one. We can set up a table. All right, but in any case, we are always graphing by each one, starting at our first value right here on our table, and then putting in preceding x values by following what the domain is stating. All right, even though this one isn't equal to, remember it's an open circle. This one is a closed circle when we put that on our graph. All right, well, I hope this helps you out. We're going to do 2 more examples on some preceding videos.